It's October of 2022. The school holidays are about to come to an end, which means I'm going to have to go back to school in a few days. And it's at this point that I decide that smoking has sort of gained control of my life. You know, I'm doing it every day, as soon as I wake up, as soon as I go to bed, before the gym, after the gym, during the day. It had a hold of me, so I decided it's time to quit. So, you know, on this day, I have some in the morning, and then we get to later in the afternoon. I haven't had any since the morning, and I'm at the gym and I'm not feeling great. I start feeling sick, and I've never heard of anyone withdrawing this soon, but for me personally, I started to feel super sick, super nauseous, and really anxious for some reason. So I stopped doing it, and then the next day is even tougher. I'm not able to eat as much food. At this point, I had been bulking. I'd got up to like 80 kilos at the time, which at the time was the biggest I'd ever been. And I just wasn't able to eat. I started losing weight. I was getting real anxious. I didn't want to talk to people, and I felt really sick. So obviously it comes time to go back to school, and I end up just outing everything, telling my mum 100%, like the 100% truth, telling her what's happened, that I'm addicted, and you know, I'm going through withdrawals, and so I'm not going to go to school, which obviously isn't the best decision to make when you are withdrawing. You need to be in situations that make you uncomfortable to overcome them. So to make a long story short, I get about 2 weeks into quitting. I'm about 2 weeks off of it by this point, still not going to school. And throughout that whole period, that 2 week period, I was doing terrible habits. So no wonder I felt like shit. I would order menu log on my mum's card, eating junk food, watching porn, watching Netflix all day, jerking off. I was doing all this stuff and I couldn't work out why I felt like shit, right? But as I said, we're 2 weeks in, and I get a call from one of my brother's mates one day, who was also sort of my mate as well. We'd speak fairly often at the time. And this guy, he did it a lot. Like, he just always did it. Like, he always smoked every single day. So he's doing it on call with me, and I just get this fucking burning urge, right, to give in. And I start saying these things to him like, oh, do you think if I do it, maybe I'll be able to eat again? I'll be able to bulk again? Like, I was asking him, like, pretty much, will it solve all my problems? And he says, I can't promise you anything, bro. Like, you know, I don't know. But I end up giving in to the urge. I have one, like the smallest one. And obviously I haven't done it in 2 weeks, so it gets me super stoned. And I end up feeling like shit immediately after I'd done it. But at this point, I didn't want to be alone because I felt this way. So I decide, you know what, the boys are going out for dinner tonight. The guy who I was just on the phone to, Cameron is his name, he's going out for dinner. My brother's going out for dinner, and then there's another guy named Andrew who was going out on this particular night. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go with them, go out for dinner with them, which I end up doing. And you know, for the first time in 2 weeks, I'm able to eat a full meal without throwing it back up. So I get back home after we went out for dinner, and I'm just left to sit in it, left to think about my actions today. I was 2 weeks in. I probably only had 1 week of withdrawals left until it was gone for good. I could have kicked everything at this point. All I was doing was smoking at this time. I could have stopped smoking, not gone back to the drugs or anything, started improving myself, started on the same journey that I only started a short time ago. Now, after this relapse, it wasn't just a one-time thing. I ended up saying, fuck it, I'm not going through that 2 week suffer period again. I'm getting back on it. Because in my mind, it was like, all right, I've already got back on it. That means I'm complete reset. So I end up doing it for another 3 months, continuing to do it every single day, but this time it's 10 times worse. I would have 7 or 8 before school, so at least 1 to 1.5 Gs. And then I would come home early from school because I had supposed anxiety, which was just my excuse so I could come home at 12 and do it. I would then do it for the rest of the day until it got time to go to the gym. I'd have heaps before the gym, go to the gym. I love training on it. And then it would get time to come home from the gym, and I would have as much as I could before bed. And even when it came time to go back to school, I was bringing these massive rolled J's that I would literally roll at the start of the week. I'd roll 7 big J's at the start of the week, and I'd bring one for every day of the week. I'd, you know, do it on the weekend as well. So this time it was obviously immensely harder for me because as I said about the withdrawal aspect of it, I'd never seen anyone withdraw this quick. I was literally waking up every day feeling nauseous as fuck, like I was withdrawing from it because I hadn't had any for like 8 hours from the night before. So it's in December that I decide, fuck this, I'm done with this. I have my last day of school and I promised myself that the first day of the holidays is going to be my first day and last day ever touching it, right? So my first day sober, my last day ever touching it. I kept that promise to myself. I've not touched this shit since December 19th of 2022. So it's coming up 2 years and I'm fucking proud of it. I had slip-ups after that. I had issues, I had the whole court case and I still did some stupid shit that I've learned from. But I'm proud to say that I haven't touched that in nearly 2 years and it's been 21 months since I touched anything else, right? How did I make this happen? How was I able to actually kick it for good and finally say, I'm so fucking sick of this, I want my life to change? You hear this all the time, like, oh, you've got to want it. You've got to want it, right? But I'm going to elaborate on this because it's one thing to say, oh, you've got to want it. Okay, I'm going to explain this in a way that makes sense to you. You need to be clear on what you actually want in life, what you aspire to achieve, what your dream life actually looks like. Imagine there's no limitations, because there's not. Imagine there's no limits. What would you want to achieve? I'm not talking, oh, I'd get my dream job as, a youth support worker and I'd make 100 grand a year. That's your pussy goal. I'm talking, if you could literally do anything, what would you do? Okay, I want to become a millionaire, own a yacht, have 5 children, a beautiful feminine wife, big, juicy, jacked, all this shit. That is what you want to achieve. So you then need to ask yourself, okay, if I want to achieve that, is what I'm doing right now going to get me there? Fuck no, right? And I knew in my mind what I did want to achieve, but obviously my ambitions far outweighed my work ethic at the time. So I set all these big goals and didn't achieve them in the time span that I wanted to. That's not to say I'm not going to achieve them. But I remember having this goal like January of 23, so last year. Oh, I'm going to be a millionaire by this time next year. Obviously, that's not really a sensible goal to have as a 15-year-old, which I was at the time, considering I've got no prior experience in business. But what I'm saying is that you need to get clear on your vision, clear on your goals, and clear on your values, and literally become that fucking person, become the one in control. And I'll just say, on the topic of setting goals and that sort of thing, you need to set goals that fucking scare you, all right? Set goals that you think, holy fuck, is that really possible? And then apply yourself as hard as you possibly can, because that's all that matters. Because I set some very big goals in about May of this year. I wrote them down on a vision board and I said, this is what I'm going to achieve in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years. Most of those goals were very scarce, very small goals. So I can actually remember most of them. So I had 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Obviously we're at like 7.5K now, so we're going to smash that, because this is to achieve by June 14th next year, right? And now the goal's 1 million. 10,000 profit a month, still haven't hit that one, and 95 kilograms body weight, which I've only really got 8 kilos left to go. So I'm moving. But I've set these goals as if they're not really attainable, but they're sort of pussy goals when I think about it, right? So that is just something to keep in mind when you're setting your goals and getting clear on where you want to be in your life. Another important thing, man, when you're trying to stay clean and not relapse, is your fucking circle. I'm sick of people asking me like, oh, how do I get clean, man? I'm about to relapse. And then I'll tell them, your friends are fucking losers. And I know it. You're a loser, so your friends are they're losers, right? And, oh, but man, he's been there for so long. Like, these guys, they're my childhood friends. Like, there's my best mate, Humphrey, and then there's Hudson, he's such a good bloke. And it's like, I don't give a fuck. You just asked me what to do. I'm telling you what to do. For those of you who know me and like the things I talk about, I don't sugarcoat it. I'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So if you're going to reach out to me and say, what do I do in this situation? I'll give you the information. Say you need to do this, 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 and this, and you don't do it, that's up to you. I don't give a fuck. No one can care more than you. No one can. I can't care more than you. It is up to you to say, hey, I'm sick of this life. I want to get to point B. I'm still at point A, and point A fucking sucks. Point A is hard. And to get, halfway to point B, that's hard. You've just got to choose your hard. Are you going to go through the mental struggle, the difficult like the hardships every day, knowing you could have but you didn't, knowing that you're a piece of shit because you're hanging out with losers, you're a loser, you're a drug drongo? Or are you going to go through the mental hardships of going through it alone, kicking all of this stuff, doing shit that actually makes you scared, that's difficult, training super hard, working as hard as you possibly can, not acting off of emotion? They're both hard. You got to choose your hard. You know, back when I decided to actually change my life, so February of 2023, that day I chose my hard, and I chose correctly, because I'm happy with where I am today. I'm fulfilled with where I am today. And you know, it's important to note who you're taking advice from. When I do a video on this stuff, you know, smoking, taking tabs, taking caps, all this sort of stuff, and you've got the losers in the comments be like, I literally did it last night. You know, if you know what you're doing, or you know what you hope to achieve from the whole experience, it's all right. You're a fucking loser. Are you going to take advice from that person whose whole life is literally just going to high school, purely just existing and taking drugs, drinking alcohol? Because if you're going to take advice from that person just because they said it's fine, then you're a loser. Go join them. But you've got to look at who you are taking advice from. You would be far better off taking advice from the sober person who doesn't touch drugs and goes to the gym and has a fuck ton more money and a fuck ton more success in life than these kids who are saying to do those things. So when I was trying to quit the second time, my brother, no malice towards him here, but he said that it's not necessarily a bad thing to smoke, all right? And I took that advice and I did keep smoking, right? But it is. What that does to your mind is it tells you, oh, this is okay. Or maybe one movie's okay. Maybe I'll just watch porn once a day. Or maybe I'll just jerk off right now. Or maybe I'll just have that shitty food. It's that mindset. It's the mindset that it puts you in. Oh, this is okay as long as it's not affecting your mental health. Fuck that. All right. So you just need to be wary of who you're taking advice from through these hardships. And my best advice to you, bro, is do it alone. Do it alone. That's going to teach you some shit. I wish the second time I quit, I actually went through worse withdrawals than I did. I really wish I did, because I'd be able to look back on that and go, fuck, that was tough. And that made me so much more mentally tougher, because it wasn't really that hard the second time. I had the help of, you know, I was in another town visiting a mate. I was still sort of drinking and stuff at the time, and it just wasn't that difficult. So I think it would have been good if I was alone and I went through some shit and fucking just suffered, put myself through it, you know what I mean? But you know, if you're about to relapse, or you did just relapse, it's not the end of the world. You just need to actually get your shit together. Stop making excuses that your friends, they've been there for so long and shit. What are they doing with themselves? What are they doing with their lives? And when you apply yourself and try, are they putting shit on you? Because I just tell you, bro, if you actually start doing something, you actually start trying, and these friends start to put you down, they're not your fucking friends. They never were. And they definitely shouldn't be people who you consider continuing to hang out with, all right? Because you'll never receive hate from someone doing better than you. So if they're talking shit, it's because they don't want you to be better than them. They want you to stay down at their level. So keep that in mind. I think I've pretty much said everything that I need to say in this one. But if you want to start improving your life and actually make a change for the better, click the top link in the description. That's going to take you to my online school community where I'm teaching young ladies and gentlemen how to change their lives and improve themselves every single fucking day. Tap in. Stay grinding, G.